This is Cahuenga Boulevard, LAPD waiting for this pursuit suspect that was on some surface streets up in the hillside and now back on the main line here. This is now Cahuenga Boulevard going northbound through the Cahuenga Pass. This pursuit started in the San Fernando Valley and has kind of made loops in and around the San Fernando Valley, down the 101. Oh. All right, still going northbound on Cahuenga Boulevard. This is a stolen vehicle. Apologies for the camera malfunction there. We're getting everything back in order here. And now we're merging onto the northbound 101. We've been seeing a fair amount of erratic driving from this suspect. Reported to be a stolen vehicle. Continuing northbound on the 101. LAPD has a few units. I see 4 units behind this one. And I'm a little surprised LAPD is tracking this one as intensely as they are. There's a motorcycle, unrelated, but unsure why this motorcycle is keeping up with this pursuit vehicle as closely as he is. That's a little bit concerning, a little bit unusual. You see LAPD kind of wondering what to do here. That motorcycle is keeping up with the pursuit vehicle, weaving in and out of traffic just as well as the pursuit vehicle, obviously being in a motorcycle able to do that. And LAPD, that unit from LAPD, deciding to keep up with the original pursuit vehicle. And we may see somebody from LAPD pull over that individual in the motorcycle, asking them what in the world they were thinking, basically getting involved in that pursuit right there. Going from the number 3 lane, oh, very close to that vehicle there. I'm pretty sure we made contact. Now in the number 4 lane, LAPD still keeping close behind this vehicle. I'm a little surprised at that with the erratic driving that we've seen so far. 4 units behind it. And the pursuit vehicle, the original pursuit vehicle, now running with the lights off. You can see just the brake lights turning on there as the vehicle is now in the fast lane. We're going to come up on the Vineland exit. We'll see what the suspect does there. We're basically back in an area that the driver is familiar with. This is the San Fernando Valley, the 101-170 interchange. It's an area that I'm very familiar with, spent a lot of time in the valley in the past 10 or so years. So there's a lot of options here, a lot of freeways that this driver can use. We've seen in the earlier parts of this pursuit, before we were actually overhead, the vehicle was on surface streets on Sherman Way, Victory Boulevard, all those big wide surface streets across the valley, as we see this driver kind of struggling to decide which way to go. Oh, another close call there with that gold sedan. An officer there waiting in the gore point. And I believe this is going to be the northbound 170. This is the continuation of the 101 where it splits off, and either you could go west on the 101 or north on the 170, and we're going to continue north on the 170 right now. Obviously some very erratic driving we've seen from this vehicle so far. Some very dangerous driving, some swerving in and out of lanes. And LAPD is keeping, staying very close behind this vehicle, which again I'm a little surprised by, because usually when these pursuits get on the freeway and stay on the freeway, LAPD is usually quick to give the pursuit to CHP, and CHP is usually more than happy to take on a pursuit unless things are just beyond crazy. But LAPD particularly interested in this pursuit suspect, staying very close behind him. That LAPD air unit lighting up the vehicle with the night sun. Maintaining speeds of about 80, 90 miles an hour, obviously going faster than the other traffic on the 170. There's no traffic per se up ahead. There's a little bit of volume as the 101 twists and turns around Victory Boulevard and so on. Eventually, this driver will have the option of continuing on the 5 freeway, but preferring to stay in the fast lane right now. Swerving between the number 1 and the number 2 lane now. Passing Victory Boulevard. Back to the number 1 lane now. Headlights are off, not signaling. That's a dangerous situation there too, because if you can imagine, in these dusk hours, you're not going to be able to see a vehicle coming at you in your rearview mirror. Your only clue to anything going on would be those flashing lights in the distance. In the number 2 lane now, swerving around that slow traffic in the number 1 lane. Passing Sherman Way now. Continuing at high rates of speed, now looking at about 100 miles an hour. And this is the type of driving that will get this driver into trouble, when you're just swerving back and forth in and around traffic. That's not something that we want to see, because that's when accidents happen. There is bear with us here, just monitoring a couple radio transmissions here as the pursuit suspect stays in the fast lane, approaching the 5170 interchange. Is that 1 and... Okay, so CHP, that's the first CHP unit we've seen get involved in this pursuit now. And CHP is going to stay close behind this one as well. So it does look like LAPD has handed this one off to CHP. We have another Cybertruck appearance in a pursuit. That's happened a couple times in recent months. But there's our first CHP unit. So CHP now taking the lead in this pursuit. As you see this semi kind of in the way there, kind of slowing things down for this pursuit driver. Still blacked out, no headlights on. But the driver intent on swerving in and around the, I would say, medium level volume in the 8 p.m. hour, kind of past the rush hour. 1-2 units from CHP now working this pursuit. And we're now northbound 5 now in Pacoima. The next, just hearing official confirmation now, the LAPD air unit is talking on the CHP frequency. So the LAPD air unit is guiding these CHP cruisers below through this pursuit now and talking to other CHP agents further ahead as the vehicle now swerves over onto the shoulder there. That's officially the shoulder. I believe there's going to be the ramp for Osborne coming up next here. No, we're past that ramp. That might be Terabella. Yeah, this is the Terabella off-ramp. Hard turn there. The driver's going to have to slam on the brakes. And the driver will have the option here to go north or south on Terabella. Looks like there's going to be a northbound turn here. There's cross traffic. That traffic having to slam on the brakes, but those CHP units keeping right behind the vehicle. You see other drivers there pulling over, doing the right thing. They hear the sirens, they see the lights, and that's the important thing. Flying through the red light right there. That's Laurel Canyon Boulevard, so Terabella and Laurel Canyon Boulevard. Going in the northeastbound direction here in the vicinity of Whiteman Airport, if you're familiar with the area, Terabella is going to come to an end. It's a T intersection as the driver uses the center median to get around a little bit of traffic here. This is a very residential area. A lot of people just kind of on their way home from a day off, from a day at work probably, and this driver is just flying down Terabella. Not really a street that you'd see children playing in because there is a high volume of traffic, as you see there. Oh, and we're in that T intersection. The driver makes a sharp left turn. I almost think the driver may have sideswiped someone before getting into that intersection. Now we're going to be northbound on San Fernando Road. You see those 2 CHP units keeping close behind the air unit from LAPD, also keeping the night sun on this vehicle. The drivers up ahead are pulling over, which is what we want to see to prevent accidents from happening. Now making another left turn. That's, I believe, we'll get a cross street for you here shortly. But that's going to be Pierce Street on the northwest corner of Whiteman Airport. And this is kind of a half residential, half industrial area, but a lot of narrow streets, a lot of residential areas, very close to that oncoming traffic right there. The next major intersection is going to be Glen Oaks Boulevard, and Glen Oaks Boulevard will give this driver a little bit more options in terms of other freeways. He could get to the 210 that way. But that CHP unit, again, a little bit of a surprising moment for me because CHP actually staying behind this pursuit even though it's on surface streets now. And that is a little bit of unusual behavior there as well. As we come to a traffic light here that is red, the suspect pulling through a gas station parking lot, going around that traffic light, really erratic driving there through that intersection. That's going to be Glen Oaks Boulevard and Pierce Street, and it looks like the rear bumper is just hanging off the side of the vehicle there, possibly from some earlier contact that this driver had with another vehicle. I think not that far away from here. Going northbound on Glen Oaks Boulevard now, and just as I say that, suspect makes a left turn on Van Nuys Boulevard. We're going to be headed back towards the 5 freeway right now. You saw a little glimpse of LAPD airship right now, and the CHP vehicle looking possibly for an opportunity to perform a pit maneuver right there. Another turn now. This appears to be Norris Avenue, I believe. This is in the area of San Fernando Gardens, which is one of the complexes in the neighborhood here. And we've seen pursuits end here before, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again, if the driver decides to stop and get out and run, because that's something we've seen happen before. We're getting kind of in the center of the apartment complex here. This is San Fernando Gardens, and those CHP units not taking any chances. They're trying to maintain eye contact with this driver, with this vehicle that does have some rear bumper damage, and there's an LAPD unit just kind of going through the area there. No doubt they are aware. There's another LAPD unit in the intersection there on the right side of your screen, and that LAPD unit almost having a close call there with the pursuit vehicle as we're just making these left and right turns, kind of zigzagging through the neighborhood here. We're moving a little bit away from San Fernando Gardens now. Left turn now. I believe that's going to be Suter Avenue. Almost coming into contact with some oncoming traffic right there. And now a right turn again. Back in the vicinity of Whiteman Airport. And we're going to come out to San Fernando Boulevard again. That LAPD unit waiting. Not sure if they were possibly planning to do a spike strip there. I did not see one. But I'm wondering if that was going to be the hope at some point. Now flying down San Fernando Boulevard at a high rate of speed. The next major intersection will be Osborne Street. That is a very busy intersection, but it'll also give the suspect a couple of options there. It's making me a little nervous that driver's staying in the center median, swerving around oncoming traffic through that intersection, running the red light. Very dangerous behavior here in these very busy intersections. That LAPD air unit keeping the night sun on this suspect. It seems like the suspect's slowing down a little bit, even though he's going into oncoming traffic right there, running the red light, making a right turn in front of oncoming traffic. This is going to be Branford going westbound now. Suspect appears to be slowing down. He's aware that there's no officers behind him, pulling over now. But the driver has to be aware, and there he is. He's out, he's running. You know the driver was aware that the police helicopter is still overhead, so you have to wonder what's going through this person's mind. It doesn't look like there was anybody else that got out of the vehicle, but that LAPD air unit is keeping a close eye on this suspect. You see there the back office of possibly a warehouse or something of that nature, and the suspect just kind of runs in and then runs into one of these businesses. And this is not a situation that LAPD wants. This is not a situation that anybody wants, because once the suspect runs into a building like that, you see the CHP unit come to a stop. You see an employee run out, pointing to these officers where that suspect ran. And LAPD and CHP, they have to operate on the assumption that this person's armed. Probably a scary situation for that employee there, just working at this warehouse. CHP and multiple officers from LAPD are trying to gather some information about what this business is, what the layout is, and what they're going to have to do. That CHP officer getting out his long gun. And they are going to figure out the best way to make access to... Oh, you see another employee running out. You got to imagine that's a extremely scary situation if you're just working the night shift at a warehouse here and somebody just runs in and probably barricades themselves in one of these offices. Curious to see CHP kind of backing away from the building now. We're trying to gather some more information from the LAPD airship and the monitoring the communications of the CHP officers and the LAPD officers on the ground as they now develop a plan of attack here. They are setting up a perimeter around this building. It did seem like the air unit from LAPD got a good handle of the what kind of building they're dealing with here, and if there's any entrances and exits that police would have to be aware of. And they also have those employees that ran out of the building that could possibly help with that information as well. For those of you familiar with the area, this is going to be in Pacoima, just west of San Fernando Road, just off of Branford Street. There's a couple businesses. It looks like a cargo company and a couple other shipping companies in this business complex. You see their pallets inside, boxes nearby. The air unit has indicated to the officers on the ground that there is no known exit in the rear of the building. So that should be some help to these officers, knowing that they can then figure out how to take this suspect into custody, knowing that hopefully he has no way out once he's inside. You see there the woman in the blue dress. She was one of the employees inside. On the left side of the picture there, Rob, if we pan right a little bit, that was one of the other employees inside the business. Left, he's talking to officers there. So you see LAPD and the CHP officers that are on scene here in a mutual aid capacity. They are kind of changing their stance here, knowing that the information they've gotten from the employees that ran out of this business is that there should be no other way out than this garage entrance right here. So that gives these officers a little bit of time. They could figure out a plan. They could see what they need, how many people they need, before they go in and look for the suspect and take him into custody, hopefully without further incident. LAPD setting up to make entry into the building. A lot of these business parks that are really just little warehouses with one garage entry, maybe one small front office door entry, and they are very kind of cookie cutter. There's no back door. It's really just that main garage entrance and then concrete walls separating the businesses. And so that may have actually been a really terrible decision by this suspect to run into one of these businesses, because he potentially has no way out. But as we said, this gives the officers on the ground, those LAPD units, those LAPD officers in the center of your screen, more time to coordinate, gather some information, and when the watch commander gives the word, those officers are going to make entry, hopefully make contact with the suspect and take him into custody. Once again, you're watching the termination of a LAPD and CHP pursuit that caused quite a commotion here in the San Fernando Valley, up the 170 freeway down into Hollywood for a bit, making some close contact. We did see a couple of vehicles that did seem to be sideswiped, and some damage to the original pursuit vehicle. The vehicle had a bumper hanging off, so we know he did make contact with other vehicles. LAPD and CHP are certainly going to talk to those other drivers and gather their information, because they are now witnesses to the events of this pursuit. The pursuit started as a stolen vehicle call, went up and down Sherman Way, Victory Boulevard, down on the 170, as we said, through Hollywood, exited Vine, came, that's actually the 101, came back up the 101 and up the 170 again, onto the 5 freeway, off to surface streets in the Pacoima area, where we did see the suspect drive very erratically, sideswiping a couple of vehicles, running a lot of red lights before dumping the vehicle right here on San Fernando Road. The driver then ran into this business here that you see with the garage open on the top of your frame there. Now, LAPD and CHP seem to have information that there's no way out of this business. We saw 2 employees of the business run outside after the suspect ran inside, and they apparently told police that, hey, there's just this one garage door, possibly that other glass door in the front there, that might also be connected to the business, but you basically have this front side entrance, as you see now that CHP unit, that LAPD unit setting up in kind of a barricade position at this, facing this garage door. And LAPD really taking their time here because, as we said, they know that there should be no way out. There's no back doors to this business, and this garage door is the only entrance and exit to this business. So now LAPD is going to get all their ducks in a row, make sure they're ready for an entry into this building. They always have to act as if a suspect could be armed and dangerous, and that's why they are taking a kind of defensive stance so far before they move inside the building and hopefully take the suspect into custody without further incident. If you're still watching with us on ABC7.com and all of our ABC7 streaming platforms, I'm Gabe Santos in Air 7 with pilot Tyler and Rob, our photographer. We are watching a little bit of a standoff here at the end of a pursuit. A pursuit that ran up and down the 170 freeway, down into Hollywood for a bit, now up in the Pacoima area, in a business district in Pacoima, where the suspect bailed on the vehicle, and then ran into this business. The good news about this particular business unit is that we believe that, you could see there the large LAPD presence here. The original call appeared to be a stolen vehicle call, and that's why LAPD started in this pursuit. You see the CHP units there on scene as well, because the pursuit, for a good portion of it, was on the freeway, so CHP took over and actually stayed in control of the pursuit through the Pacoima area until the suspect foot bailed and ran into this garage unit there. We believe that this long building is actually comprised of individual garage units, if you will. Not that large, but the employees that ran out of the garage after the suspect ran in, apparently informed officers on scene that there's no back doors or anything like that, that the suspect could run out of. So they believe this that you're seeing there at the top of your screen, that is the only way in and out of at least this particular garage rental unit. So you see those LAPD units, looks like that's going to be Mission Division. This pursuit originally started in the Devonshire Division, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see some officers from Devonshire Station also arriving on scene there, and I think I do see some of those cars there that do appear to be Devonshire Division units. And so that LAPD unit kind of positioned in a defensive stance there is giving officers cover until they receive word that they're going to make entry into this building and hopefully take the suspect into custody. Now, hopefully that doesn't take too long because, as we said, we know that these units aren't particularly large unless there's anything dangerous inside the building that maybe the officers have been told about. So now we wait once again until LAPD it's basically the way that kind of chain of command works is the watch commander overseeing the situation needs to take in all the information and kind of make a decision on what the officers on the ground need to do and when they need to do it. So we are waiting to see that happen right now. At some point very soon in the future, you will see those officers make entry into the building and at least try and lay eyes on the suspect, verify if he is still, as we said, they have to always kind of deal with all these situations as if a suspect is armed. So they have to verify that the suspect is no longer a danger and then take him into custody. We are hearing now that possibly a canine unit is en route, and that would the fact that we're hearing that the canine unit is on the way kind of gives us more of an understanding as to why those officers on the ground haven't made entry quite yet, and it's because they are apparently waiting for that canine unit to arrive, and once that canine unit arrives, that will make it a little bit easier for officers to take the suspect into custody if they believe that the suspect will continue to be uncooperative. Thank you for staying with us here on ABC7.com and our ABC7 streaming platforms. Gabe Santos with you in Air 7. Pilot Tyler at the controls, Rob, our photographer. We are now in a standoff / barricade situation with a suspect, a pursuit suspect of a wanted for a possible stolen vehicle charge. That suspect has ran into this business park, into this garage unit, and has now barricaded himself. So LAPD, with help from CHP, they are now in a standoff mode right now, and they're waiting for those LAPD canine units to arrive before they make entry into this business. And once those canine units arrive, we do believe that LAPD is going to have those canine officers assist in making entry into the business and hopefully take the suspect into custody. We're going to stay with these pictures. Might hear the feed go silent from time to time while we coordinate a few different radio frequencies up here in Air 7. But we will leave these pictures up for those of you watching on all of our various platforms, because we do want to see this come to an end, come to a safe conclusion here. In all of these situations, usually time is more on the favor of law enforcement and not so much in the favor of the suspect, because law enforcement has different shifts they can bring in, different officers they can bring in. There's a lot of officers already here that can give the officers that were involved in the pursuit a break, let them stand down for a bit, and take up positions guarding the front entrance to this business. And so LAPD can wait out here all night. I don't believe they're going to, though. It does appear that they're just waiting for those canine officers to get here. They have to respond probably from LAPD headquarters in downtown, I would imagine. And they have their lights, they have their sirens, so they can get here in a matter of, I'd say, 20, 30 minutes tops. And they are already on the way. They were called out to the scene about 10 minutes ago. And once they do get on scene, we should see officers make entry on this business unit here. And we will hopefully still be with you with these live pictures at that point. We're going to stay over the scene as long as we can safely do so in Air 7. Gabe Santos here in Air 7. I'm still bringing you live coverage of a pursuit standoff situation here in the Pacoima area. Those two LAPD units are keeping an eye on that open garage door at the top of your screen there. There's more LAPD units blocking the street there just off of San Fernando Road in the Pacoima area. This is the end of a pursuit, a pretty scary pursuit at times that was, you can see there the hard closure there of the street. But it was a pretty scary pursuit at times with the suspect sideswiping other vehicles and driving at high rates of speed on, mostly on the 170 freeway. The pursuit vehicle originally wanted because it was a suspected stolen vehicle. Merged onto the 5 North through Pacoima, exited on Terabella, kind of went up and down San Fernando Road, pulled off, pulled over, and then the suspect got out and ran into this warehouse. And that is where we've been ever since, with those LAPD officers keeping a close eye on that one entrance to the warehouse. 2 employees actually ran out of the warehouse. I say they're employees because I assume it's some kind of business and the people there were working. That's just a bit of an assumption on my part. But those people ran outside, and they were able to inform officers on the ground that that garage door is really the only way in and out of this business. So the suspect ran inside, and he appears to be stuck inside now at this point because there is apparently no other way out. So now LAPD is in a waiting game right now, and they have made a call out to the LAPD K9 units. Those K9 units are en route with about, I'd say, about a 10, oh, you know what? As I look out the window of Air 7, I see those K9 units traveling northbound on the 170, and they are presumably going to exit on Osborne and head this way. There's about a caravan of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right there on the 5. No, right there. Oh, but currently, yes, yeah. You don't, well, yeah, you could, yeah, don't, okay. We're kind of giving you guys a peek at what I can see from Air 7 being up here at about 2,000 feet. There is the convoy of LAPD K9 units, and those K9 units are exiting. It looks like they're going to exit Osborne, and they will be here in about 2 minutes, I'd say. They will be at the scene of the standoff. The telltale sign of the LAPD K9 units being those white trucks that say K9 on them, and they have the K9 officers in the back. And there's a few of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this convoy is heading east on Osborne on the way to the northeast, I'd say. This whole area is kind of offset. None of the roads are north, south, or east, west. They're kind of northeast and southeast and so on. But we're going to kind of follow this caravan of the LAPD K9 contingent as they head over to the standoff scene now. Yeah, they don't have too far to go. I mean, they usually just respond from the downtown area, and at this hour, once again with their lights and sirens going, they can usually make it up here pretty quick. As we see back to the standoff scene here, you see those 2 LAPD units guarding that front entrance. Once again, we believe that's the only way in and out of this this little garage unit. And that is going to play into the officer's favor because hopefully they can go inside, especially with those K9 units, corner the suspect and take him into custody without further incident. Rob, let's widen out a little bit. Where did they, where'd all those canine units pull up? Okay. They're setting up a little command post here. We should be on all of the platforms. Looks like I see us on TikTok. Let me check that. I just happen to have TikTok up. And yeah, we're on the app too. It should be on YouTube too. Yes, I think that was that's you're looking at the contingent of LAPD that is formed on Branford Street. Branford Street now closed between San Fernando and Laurel Canyon Boulevard. And LAPD K-9 units have arrived on scene here. They are coordinating with the units that have been on scene here. And they're going to figure out a bit of a plan of attack here to use those K-9 officers to make entry into that building there that you see with the garage door open. That's where the pursuit suspect ran inside. And we even saw the two employees, possibly business owners they could be, that ran out of the business. They're talking to the officers on scene here now. Presumably, excuse me, giving them a layout of the land and giving them an idea of possibly any locations where the suspect may be able to hide. There's the LAPD air unit down low. The LAPD helicopter usually stays at about 500 to 700 feet, pretty low to the ground. Whereas us in Air 7, we're about 2,000 feet, and that's not 2,000 feet above the ground, that's 2,000 feet relative to the Pacific Ocean, because that's what we use in the aviation community. And once again, we're now in this standoff mode where LAPD is gathering information and they are working on that plan of attack, which hopefully should result in the suspect being safely taken into custody, and hopefully that happens pretty soon here now that those canine officers are on scene and gathering the information that they need to make entry into the building. We're going to keep these images up for you watching on abc7.com and our various streaming platforms. We're now on TikTok Live. We've been on YouTube Live for a number of years, so I see a lot of viewers on each of those platforms. And we're going to keep these pictures up for as long as we can stay safely airborne in Air 7, and I will chime in as the situation warrants. Gabe Santos and Air 7 back with you all on abc7.com and all of our streaming platforms. We are seeing some movement now that the LAPD K-9 units have arrived on scene. We do see that LAPD K-9 officer there first in line there in that group. And there he goes, the K-9 unit making entry inside this business unit now. You see those officers checking the side doors there. And waiting to hear back from their K-9 companion. And the K-9 has now exited the building. We'll wait for an update now. It does appear that maybe the K-9 did not make contact with the suspect. And these other officers may have to go in as well. LAPD now making full entry into the building. We're told that this is just a small garage unit with no other entry or exit. However, with a lot of these units, there may be shipping businesses. They have a lot of boxes and storage and possibly a lot of places where an individual can hide if given enough time to do so. And this pursuit came to an end almost an hour ago. You see some cardboard boxes there, those wooden crates. For all we know, the suspect could be inside of a box or inside of a shipping container or things of that nature, any one of these possibilities. But we do see these officers kind of taking a little bit of a relaxed stance, which gives me the impression that they have not yet made contact with the suspect. But we're monitoring the LAPD frequencies to await word on what they find inside this building. A couple more officers making entry there, past the wood pallet. This may be quite the intricate layout inside what is probably a simple business rental unit. Looks like there's probably a lot of shelving in there, a lot of places where somebody can hide, and a lot of places where these LAPD officers and possibly the K-9 unit will have to search and sniff out. A couple more LAPD officers making entry. There's one at the right door. Oh. We're seeing now some movement there from LAPD. It looks like he's getting a bullhorn. There's a couple possibilities here. We are being led to believe that officers possibly have eyes on the suspect, but he's not turning himself in willingly. I'm a little surprised that maybe the warehouse is big or tall enough where they would need a bullhorn. But officers have to use all tools at their disposal. You have a number of units from LAPD Mission Division and Devonshire Division where this pursuit started. The LAPD K-9 units are on scene as well. Even CHP got involved for a little bit during this pursuit, but I do believe CHP has since left the scene. And now officers continue in this waiting stance, appearing to continue to make call-outs to the suspect to get him to turn himself in willingly. I do hear on the police scanner that officers are continuing to make announcements telling this person to turn himself in on that bullhorn that we just saw that officer grab. We in Air 7, we've been airborne for nearing 2 hours here. So we're looking at about 10 more minutes here in terms of how long we can actually stay airborne and bring you these live pictures. Hopefully this will come to a conclusion within those 10 minutes, but we do apologize if we have to pull away from these pictures. But there comes a point where we will need fuel. All of us, all of you folks viewing on abc7.com and our ABC7 streaming platforms, we are unfortunately running pretty low on fuel. So we're going to start flying back to the airport here. Luckily, the airport isn't too far away, so we're going to make that stop for fuel and bring you updates on abc7.com and the ABC7 app as the situation warrants. I'm Gabe Santos in Air 7, along with pilot Tyler and photographer Rob, signing off for now.